So in terms of more young talent, Jose Butto has actually been very impressive so far this spring. Across 10 innings pitched, Butto has surrendered 9 hits, 1 earned run, 0 walks, 9 strikeouts in 4 total appearances. His fastball is sat at 93 to 94 and topping 97, showcasing his new cutter with RPMs in the 2500s at a 16% usage. Butto got an extended look last season after the trade deadline, holding his own across 42 innings pitched, posting a 3.64 earned run average, a 4.02 fielding independent pitching, striking out 21.2% of batters in 7 starts. With Joey Lucchesi optioned to AAA this week, Butto's chances to make the Mets opening day roster have elevated, with the likelihood of the Mets beginning with a 6-man rotation due to Kodai Senga beginning 2024 on the injured list.
He's a guy that I've been very hard on since the beginning. And I think, the big thing for him that stands out to me is the fact that he's beginning more strikeouts. I think that's going to be the big key for him because, that's kind of been his main struggle. I like that the new pitches that he has this year have been effective as far as getting those strikeouts. So I think, if you're going to be adding new pitches and you're going to be making some changes to have good results, I mean, that's the key right there. Because if you're trying to do new stuff and it gets worse, aka, Drew Smith, his whole career, seeing that, I think it's just, it's a lot of stuff to be encouraged by. And I think he definitely has deserved and earned a spot on the roster, no doubt about it. Whether it is as a starter until Senga's back and then maybe into a spot starter and then maybe into a long reliever, like just being part of the pitching staff in some capacity based off his performance. Even last year, he wasn't terrible. He wasn't great, but he also wasn't terrible. So I definitely think that, with all those things together, he's done a very good job this spring. And we'll see what he does, on the big league level, because again, all in all, the competition you're facing is very, hit or miss. Sometimes you get good players, sometimes you don't. And the results ultimately in the end don't really matter. It all matters what happens during the regular season. But based off what we've seen, like I said, he definitely deserved a spot on the roster.
With Lucchesi going down, he is kind of in that class with him and Hauser battling for the 5 and 6 spot. I mean, yes, it's spring training numbers. I'm not going to lose my, absolute badonkadonk because, oh my God, he's got a 0.09 or 90 ERA in 10 innings. Whoop-de-doo, it's spring training. It does not matter. But again, seeing a little velocity tick up, nice to see. Again, we all knew he has a very good changeup. Some people want to kill it, but hey, he has a good pitch. Fastball velocity is going up. Is he going to be, an amazing starter? No. Can he be used kind of like a Trevor Williams? I could see that as a possibility for his role in this team. As a guy that can come up, can start, can put him potentially in the bullpen and give you some mop-up innings if need be. It's nice to see some solid results and in some game activity. But is he more than just kind of that 5-6 man? That's about it. But again, just to have some more quality depth in the rotation is the more you need. You're going to need 10 to 12 to 15 starters. So you're going to see him. Maybe you'll see him early just because of this good start in spring. But again, you knew you were going to see him at some point. Seeing some good results. Pretty solid.
Butto, he isn't really a guy who's going to exactly blow you away with his stuff. But, there are definitely encouraging things about him, especially with a cutter that he just developed that he's actively throwing a lot. I think that's a big reason to be optimistic about what he's doing. That cutter will help his slider tunnel a lot better with his four seam or his sinker too. But usually with sinkers, it's a curveball. But regardless, I think Butto, if his cutter can become an effective pitch for him, I think we might have something here. He could be a back-end starter. We'll see if he's in the opening day rotation. I think I'd rather Tyler McGill at this moment. But Jose Butto is holding his ground, and maybe we could do a 6-man rotation to start off the year. I just can't wait to see what these guys do.
I don't know if he's peaked the extension a little bit. We haven't really had any data on that, but I'm not sure. I don't know if StatCast has been doing that, but probably could get a little MPHs on there. It does have some decent vertical approach.
We do have extension numbers. It's exactly the same.
Is it the exactly the same? No. All right.
Yeah.
So it's going to be kind of hit or miss. All right. For Jose Butto, I think we've all kind of seen him as the upper level depth for a long time. And we've kind of just seen him as someone we can plug into the starting rotation if there's an emergency, if someone's hurt, somebody's under the weather or whatever. But I think that at this point, small sample, but he's kind of been elevated to that point where, maybe you do see him as a back-end starter next year. Maybe you do see him getting a little bit more innings than you expected him to get. And, I'm glad to see him progressing as a pitcher. It's really nice to see a lot of pitchers, especially you've seen it throughout the Mets organization. You've seen a lot of cutters being added to the arsenal. You've seen a lot of breaking pitches being added to the arsenals, a lot of sweepers being added to arsenals, which is good. And I'm really happy that they are kind of expanding that with, multiple weapons, more kills, as we all say. I'm a little bit more confident in him as compared to like last year. Maybe relying on the fly balls a little too much, gives up home runs a little too much. Mid-90s, like one of these basic pitchers. Mid-90s with a changeup. Like we always say, it's like just the generic guy. But now it looks like he has kind of added a little bit of depth, and he's added a few weapons, and he's continued to get a little bit better, which is good for a guy who arguably you still can debate whether he belongs in the rotation or not. So that's pretty good. Butto is kind of in that same scenario with Tyler McGill, where he's got a few pitching prospects nipping at his heels. If he does not step it up at any point and show that he's a valued member to this organization, and maybe this is the year that he does do that. Maybe he does show some value as to in the Trevor Williams role. Maybe we do have even more injuries, because who the hell knows? And he gets slid into the rotation for a majority of the season. It's a good problem to have. Let me just say that. To have multiple good pitchers, even if they are competing for a spot, it's a good problem to have, to see all of them succeed at once.
I must apologize. I kind of failed to do my homework here, because I should have mentioned that, Butto has a new slider with a ton of horizontal break, inching close to 15 inches of horizontal break. Tunnels really well with his cutter. This is a much better pitcher than last year for sure.
More refined, shall we say.
Yeah, I was not a big fan of Jose Butto going into this year. Like, I was the pessimist, I guess you could say. I was feeling that I didn't really buy into him being a part of this rotation. And there's a lot of depth now, and he's contributing to that. So let's hope, for sure, I hope that he can prove me wrong, as he has been already.